The moves that the New England Patriots just made in the 2025 NFL Draft should absolutely be scaring the rest of the National Football League, and I don't feel like enough people are talking about this. I'm not just talking about one selection the team made, two selections, or even three selections by many different accounts. You look at draft experts, you look at NFL analysts. The Patriots just hit this draft class out of the park. And if you look at the haul of picks that they just had, you look at the moves they made in free agency, you look at the leadership that they've gotten from coaches to players, this is a very different New England Patriots team in just one offseason, so let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? My name is Colby Cochran, also known as Patriots Global. I appreciate you guys for clicking on today's video to hear me talk about some Patriots news. And boy, oh boy, welcome to the new Patriots Global, man. We've kind of been under construction for the last week or so. Still some things to be done, but trying to bring you guys a better all-around looking show and better overall content. And I want to continue to touch upon this draft. We'll have draft grades, the official draft grades, coming out here over the next few days. But what the New England Patriots did in this draft, like I said, by multiple different accounts, has really thrusted this team into the discussion of potentially being a playoff team. And I don't think that enough people are scared of what the New England Patriots just did. Getting into some of these selections, you look at this first move here with Will Campbell. A lot of Patriots fans either liked this move or hated this move. A lot of controversy with the pick. But if you look at it, over the last 2 years, the Patriots' biggest needs were at quarterback and then at offensive tackle. They have now addressed those in back-to-back seasons. And you can even say the offensive line in general. The Patriots needed a quarterback. What did they do? They went out last offseason, biggest investment this team has made in years, with their first pick. I believe it was fourth pick overall last year is what they had. Also, the third pick overall, I believe, is what they had last year. And they end up selecting Drake Maye, who, by the way, balled out this season. You have NFL front officemen. You have head coaches, including Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott, saying this guy has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Sean McDermott even going as far as to say that he hopes the Patriots trade Drake Maye out of the division because he does not want to have to face him 2 times a year. What did the team go out and do with their first round pick this year? They went and they addressed yet again their biggest need with the best offensive lineman in this class in Will Campbell to protect Drake Maye's blind side. I've said this to you guys in nauseum, and I'm going to continue to say it. All offensive production starts in the trenches. We know that Drake Maye can excel the offense past its limitations. He just needs to be protected. And Drake Maye was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League while he was playing through that span when he officially took over for the Patriots against the Houston Texans in Week 4. Again, we know that he looks like a very different quarterback when he's in a clean pocket, when he's just throwing from a clean pocket, whether he's mobile, whether he's going outside the pocket and rushing. Drake Maye simply just needs to be protected. And it's not just going to help him with the addition of Will Campbell, but the Patriots are also going to get their return on investment at wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, 2 of the receivers you drafted last year. Kyle Williams, a guy that you drafted this year. And then, of course, the running backs. Drake Stevenson, who you gave a multi-year contract extension to last offseason. Antonio Gibson, who you signed in free agency to a multi-year deal. And then, of course, what you did in this year's draft by adding TreVeyon Henderson. The move of Will Campbell is going to be so unbelievably underrated, but it is going to help the rest of the offensive line as a unit from a leadership perspective with the identity of this team, the continuity of this team, and it's all around going to help the offensive production from the quarterback to the wide receivers and, of course, to the running backs. A home run hit here for the New England Patriots. Even if you move on to the second round, the pick they made going best player available with TreVeyon Henderson. Some people say that maybe this was a dumb idea for the Patriots to go running back after the additions they made with the running backs just an offseason prior. But TreVeyon Henderson is going to be a complementary piece, something that they don't have in Antonio Gibson and something they didn't have in Drake Stevenson. His 22 miles per hour in TreVeyon Henderson that he reached last year at the collegiate level would have been third in the NFL this past season. The Patriots have not had a running back this fast. That could be a true game-changing running back. That could be a home threat guy in that backfield that if he has the blockers ahead of him, can go off for easily a 40, 50, even 60-yard touchdown. The upside here, though, because some people want to compare this move to Pierre Strong, is that, first off, TreVeyon Henderson is much faster, but second off, he has the ability to be an every down running back. And this is something that Patriots general manager Elliott Wolf even said himself. Now, TreVeyon Henderson, I think, is already a pretty good receiving threat, but he's still a little bit raw there, in my opinion, and he's 100% still developing there. But you look at some of his plays, some of his film from this past year, you can see where that receiving upside is going to be. But the best part about TreVeyon Henderson comes from his not run blocking, but his pass blocking ability. In my opinion, one of the best pass blocking running backs that we've seen come out of the NFL draft in a while. And in my opinion also, and I don't think it's really all that close, TreVeyon Henderson was the best pass blocking running back in all of the NFL. This goes back to making sure you keep your quarterback in Drake Maye protected, whether teams are going to blitz Drake Maye or not, which, by the way, the Patriots quarterbacks from 2024 in Jacoby Brissett and Drake Maye, they were some of the most blitzed quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now teams are going to start to second guess a little bit about blitzing Drake Maye because you have running backs that can pick up the blitz. You know that Drake Maye is now going to have an extra second or two to be able to run or throw the ball away or be able to make a play because, again, when he's protected, he excels the offense past its limitations. Moving on to the next move, too, the Patriots went back-to-back offense. And that's one of the biggest things that I loved about this draft is that the Patriots, this offseason, they went out, they got the head coach in Mike Vrabel. After getting Mike Vrabel, they went out and continued to set the culture for what they were going to build in the Mike Vrabel era by bringing in Terrell Williams on the defensive side, then bringing in Josh McDaniels, an experienced offensive coordinator that has been here. Then in free agency, they go out with the most money easily, hands down, in the NFL this past offseason, or I should say this offseason that we're currently in, and they mainly address the defense. Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, really stapling what is easily going to be a top 10 to potentially even a top 5 defense in the NFL this upcoming season. Then they go to the draft with these young pieces, with these high picks, and they mainly address the offense. Here with Kyle Williams, the Patriots have that ability to get that next wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Now, some people want to say that Kyle Williams can be a wide receiver 1, and maybe he can. But to me, that is not the expectation for him. But this is a guy that is definitely going to change the narrative of what the Patriots have had from their wide receivers in recent years. Guys who are not reliable. Guys who cannot get open, guys who are not explosive, guys who cannot get open against press man coverage. I mean, Kyle Williams said it best himself in an interview just a couple of months ago at the Senior Bowl that his bread and butter is getting open against press man coverage. For years, the issue with these Patriots wide receivers have been that they cannot get open against man coverage, and now they have a guy in the offense, a receiving threat for Drake Maye, that can officially be that guy. They have a guy in the building that is not just a physical threat, but they have a guy who I think can be a leader, who is motivated mentally, who said himself how much that he likes to watch film, and that is something you cannot coach. Players either want to watch film, they want to get better, they want to be able to beat the defender they're going up against any given week, not just with their physicality, but also by simply being smarter than them with their football IQ. And that's what Kyle Williams is also going to bring you. This guy is fast. He's going to be a slot receiver. He's going to be a guy that you can put on the outside. And Dan Mitchell, a colleague of mine at Roundtable Sports, who wanted the Buffalo Bills to draft Kyle Williams, said before the Patriots drafted him, and that's how I know he can't go back on this. He said that he believes Kyle Williams can be the second best wide receiver taken in this entire draft class. There's a lot of similarities when you look at Kyle Williams' play from the collegiate level to a Stephon Diggs. One of the players that Kyle Williams models his game after, one of the guys he's even comped to, is Stephon Diggs. So now he's going to get that opportunity to learn from Diggs over the next year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years max, which I think is going to hold a lot of value. We know that Drake Maye likes to test the ball downfield. He really likes to push the ball downfield as much as possible, something we haven't seen really since Brady, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves. And when you have a quarterback that likes to do that, you need players like Kyle Williams who can actually be that vertical downfield threat that plays all over that offensive formation. Then moving on here to the next third round pick that the Patriots went with, their fourth pick offensively in a row. They go yet again, best player available, and they get the best center in this entire draft. You look at Bleacher Report, you look at NFL Network, you look on multiple different sites and sources. Jared Wilson was the projected number one center in this entire draft class. And what happens? The Patriots just stay there. They don't have to trade up to get him. They just stay there, and he falls into this team's lap. This was another need that the Patriots had. They released David Andrews, who has been a captain. He's been a cornerstone, for this team for years. But his injury history, his health history has really been on a decline for him, and they made a surprising move by releasing David Andrews just a few months ago. And what happens? The NFL just lets Jared Wilson fall right into the New England Patriots' lap, just like it feels that the NFL did in this entire draft class period. The Patriots had needs, and they were able to get some of the best players, even some of the best players, period, at their positions, fall into their lap. And Jared Wilson is a guy that will have experience and that versatility to play all over of the interior of that offensive line, but is mainly going to be that future center for you. He's also one of the most athletic graded interior offensive linemen in college football this past season. Coming from Georgia, you also feel pretty confident about his ability to translate to the NFL level. Yet again, another home run pick by the Patriots to be able to solidify that offensive line, to build around Drake Maye, and yet again, get their return on investment for running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Moving on here, though, to day 3 in the 4th round, when the Patriots went Craig Woodson. Again, I understand maybe some controversy around this pick, but I think this was another really good pick by the Patriots because this can be your next Devin McCourty. Am I saying he's going to be one of the best safeties in the league? No, but I think hands down, Craig Woodson has that ability to be the best free safety that the Patriots have had since 2020, 2021, when Devin McCourty was still here and playing at a high level. The good thing, too, about Craig Woodson is that he's going to be able to play really all over the defensive formation in that secondary, playing close to the box, being able to play some slot cornerback, outside cornerback, but is mainly going to be a free safety, someone who is a short tackler, someone who is really, really good at defending the run, but someone who is also really, really smart. You go back, you look at the film with Craig Woodson. This is someone who is really, really smart, and a lot of his plays have come not because of how physical he is, but his plays have really come because he knew where to be. He was able to read the play. His play recognition and that football IQ was just so good, and that's how he was able to make plays on the football. The Patriots have had issues in recent years with that free safety, with that last line of defense on that Patriots defense. And I think Craig Woodson can really come in and be a difference maker for the Patriots, not even just on defense, but also on special teams. Again, people trying to say that maybe this was a little bit of an early pick for the Patriots. Well, Malachi Starks, one of the only true free safeties in this class, went in the 1st round. Andrew Makuba, who is a projected 3rd round pick, one of the other only true free safeties in this class, was someone who got taken a little bit sooner, which I projected was going to happen. He goes in the 2nd round to the Philadelphia Eagles, so explains why maybe the Patriots had to jump on this pick a little bit sooner than what was projected. Then you look at Joshua Farmer. This was a guy that was projected to be a 3rd round pick. The Patriots trade up into one of the final picks in the 4th round to get him. If they didn't select him, Joshua Farmer very, very well could have been a guy who got selected in one of the first picks in the 5th round, one of the best overall value selections for the Patriots in this draft class, and one of the overall better value picks, I would say, in this entire NFL draft. Now, to me, I think that Joshua Farmer is somebody who has a very, very high ceiling, but his floor isn't as high. And that's why he has some boom or bust potential. And I think that's why maybe he slid down some NFL boards a little bit and just fell as much as he did. Some people like him a little bit more as a run defender than I do. I want to be completely honest. I don't love him as a run defender. He's undersized as he transitions to the NFL. I think that's something that's going to inhibit him a little bit more, something he's going to struggle with a little bit more. I think his ceiling is as high as it is because of just how good he is at getting to the quarterback. I think he's shown a lot of flashes at doing so. You look at his pressure numbers, his sack numbers, you look at just overall the film of Joshua Farmer, you look at his pass rush win rate. This is a guy that, again, I think his ceiling is as high as it is because he's someone who will be under the radar when it comes to being a pass rush interior defensive lineman. And those guys are very, very valuable in today's NFL. You pair him up with the Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, being a rotational piece who can come in towards the end of the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, when opposing offensive lines are tired, and you got a Joshua Farmer who is juiced up there late into the game and can make the difference. I think that could be a big, big move for the Patriots and a very underrated overall draft selection. Then you got Braden Swinson, and Braden Swinson is a guy that was a projected second-round pick. Now, some people are like, what do you mean? He was a third. You look at PFF, you look at Bleacher Report, you look at NFL Network, multiple different sources having him as somewhere in, kind of that top 50 range. I know that PFF had him as their, like 47th best player overall on their big board, not their 47th best edge rusher, but their 47th best player, just period, in this draft. And the Patriots got him at what? 146, 150, somewhere around that range. So he goes just about 100 picks later than he was projected as a 5th round pick. I think this is a guy that is going to test someone like K'Lavon Chaisson very early on and could potentially make K'Lavon Chaisson a surprise cut when it comes to that 53-man roster cutdowns. Patriots really addressed the trenches, not just in free agency, but also in the draft, just this offseason period. And Mike Vrabel said it best himself that games are won through the trenches. I've told you guys for years that trenches are the second most important thing in football behind the quarterback position, which, like we established earlier on in this video, it seems like the Patriots very well have already hit on. Braden Swinson is a souped-up edge rusher, had one of the best pass rush win rates among edge rushers in college football this past season. I think that early on, he's going to be that rotational piece, right? He's going to be like that Josh Uche, pin your ears back and simply get to the quarterback. I think he's a little bit better against the run than Uche ever was, but that is where he needs to develop, is as a run defender. If he's going to be an every down defensive lineman, if he's going to stick around with the Patriots, stick around in the league, and be a player that deserves a 53-man roster spot, he does have to get better against the run. One of the ways, though, I think they can kind of disguise this early on is because of just how versatile Braden Swinson is. He's someone who's going to play in the interior of the defensive line. As you can see, a very, very long edge rusher. He can also be on the edge, obviously. He can play as a stand-up linebacker. He can put his hands in the dirt. He can do a lot of different things. This was considered one of the best. I've even seen some people say that this was the best value pick, just period, in the NFL draft. Not just the best value pick for the Patriots, but the best value pick, period. Another home run selection by New England. Then they get what is the consensus number one kicker in the entire NFL draft. And a lot of people saying, well, he's a use a 6th round pick on him. Why are you using a draft pick on a kicker, period? The Patriots had John Parker Romo, or I should say have John Parker Romo, as the only kicker leading up to the draft on their active roster. A guy that is not a starting kicker in the NFL. So what do? They address a major, major need, which, by the way, let's stop acting like kicker is one of those things where you can just sign a UDFA and be fine. They put points up on the board. They are the difference between you winning a game and losing a game. You know how many games out there in the NFL have come down to 16, 20 points, and none of them were from a wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, or running back getting into the end zone. All those points have come from the kicker alone. That's why having a good kicker is so valuable in the league. And the Patriots go out there, they get the best damn kicker, and all they have to do is use a 6th round pick on it. A guy that is money from within 45 to 50, but has that ability to have that bigger leg also, so he can still test those 55, 60, even 65-yard field goals. During his pro day with the Hurricanes leading up to the NFL draft, he actually kicked a 65-yarder. So this is a guy, you hear the bang, you hear the thump when he hits the ball. He has that power, very, very accurate too. Loved his response also when he was asked, well, what are your thoughts about kicking in the weather. And he acknowledged that it is different and that, yes, he hasn't done it, but it's not the fact that he can't do it. It's just the fact that he went to school in Miami and he cannot wait to prove people wrong. One of the favorite things that I heard all of these prospects say in their post-draft interviews. Then you get into the 7th round. And look, the way that I see this is rounds 1 to 3. You're looking for guys that immediately they're going to come out. They're going to be day one impactful starters for you. Once round 4 comes along, yes, you'd like those guys to serve some type of role for you year one, but they're more so diamonds in the rough. You're kind of just taking shots on players. Once the 7th round comes along, to me, that's just drafting guys that you did not want to have to compete for as UDFAs. And Marcus Bryant seems like that type of player. This was someone that I believe I'd mocked to the Patriots in the past. I'd had him on my board. I thought could have easily went in the 6th round, but the Patriots get him here in the 7th. This is someone that played with Armand Membu, but played opposite of him. So if you were somebody that liked, Membu and you ddid the pre-draft process on him for the Patriots, look to the opposite side because that guy was Marcus Bryant, a really, really big. He's about 6'6", 6'7". He has experience on both sides. I think this could be like Jalen Waddle, I believe was his name. I know his last name was Waddle, but I can't remember his first name was Jalen from like 2016, 2017 for the Patriots. Was a really good depth guy. He was their swing tackle. And when they dealt with injuries, he could substitute in as the starter for a few games and do it at a high level and be perfectly fine. I think that's exactly what Marcus Bryant could be. Has the most experience playing over on the left side because of where Membu was playing, but also has a lot of experience playing over at right tackle. He has over 500 snaps of experience at left tackle, but also over 500 snaps of experience over at right tackle. This is a guy that I think could go a long way for the Patriots. Like I said early on, depth piece. He's going to be someone who I think is your favorite to be the swing tackle off the bat. But if somebody like Caden Wallace ultimately doesn't end up working out for you, maybe Marcus Bryant tests him to end up being that starting right tackle for you when Morgan Moses ultimately does retire. You then look at the next pick that the Patriots made in Julian Ashby. A lot of Patriots fans and honestly just casual fans throughout the NFL didn't like the fact that the Patriots used a mid to late round 7th round pick on a long snapper, but Joe Cardona was released a few days later. This isn't a guy that's going to make a difference for you in the future. This isn't someone who was going to compete during the offseason in training camp. This is someone who immediately comes in and serves a role. And Mike Giardi reported from NFL Network that multiple teams throughout the NFL, about half the teams at least, were looking to make Julian Ashby one of their favorite targets in UDFA. So it's more than likely that the Patriots, number one, would have had to have gone out there and offered more money to Julian Ashby as a UDFA than they would have had to if they just drafted him in the 7th round, not to mention the fact that even if they offered him the most money as a UDFA, it doesn't mean he would have gone to the New England Patriots. Using that 7th round pick means the Patriots are guaranteed to get him. And Joe Cardona, his game has been declining. You also look at the way that the Patriots want to play special teams with the new kickoff rule. Because of that, they're going to be asking their long snapper to be able to get down the field quick, be athletic, and be able to make tackles. With where Joe Cardona is at this point in his career, he's not going to be able to do those things. If Julian Ashby can be a consistent long snapper for you, you don't have issues with your snaps, you don't have issues with blocked punts or anything of those sorts, and Ashby can be one of your top tacklers on special teams, this is an absolute home run for New England. Yet again, getting younger and thinking long-term. And then look, final pick in the NFL draft, Mr. Irrelevant himself, Kobe Minor. This was someone who I don't love the pick, but at the end of the day, the Patriots, they're trying to solidify that defense. They're trying to solidify that secondary. What I will say about Kobe Minor, while I do not love his 40 time, he ran about a 4.57, 4.59. He is someone with that positional versatility. He's going to play inside. He's going to play outside. He's going to have that ability on special teams, of course. So at the end of the day, would he have been the selection I would have went with? No. But again, this comes down to the Patriots looking to solidify that defense. They got depth on the defensive line, but now they're getting depth for that secondary. Coming out of this draft, I don't see how you can argue that this was one of the best drafts in all of the NFL in 2025, and you can even argue that it was the best. The Patriots hit on every single one of their needs that they had left heading out of free agency. From the offensive line, from center, from guard, to tackle, to needing help at wide receiver, to even needing low-key help there at running back, to solidifying the edge, to solidifying the interior of the defensive line, getting 2 picks to staple that secondary for you, both at safety and cornerback, not to mention the fact that the Patriots got really good value on pretty much every single one of these picks. You can't say that they reached on really any of these guys. Also, if you look at it, a lot of times they were trading down. And when they traded up, it was to get arguably the best guys in the draft. They traded up to get Joshua Farmer, who was falling to the 5th round as a 3rd round projection. They traded up to get Andy Borgalis, who was the best kicker in the draft, which, by the way, you had Justin Tucker released earlier today. And the Baltimore Ravens selected a kicker a few picks after the Patriots. So now you understand, even looking back, why the team traded up. They got a 4th round pick for next year by trading with the Kansas City Chiefs. And another time they traded down was able, I believe it was with the Carolina Panthers, if I remember correctly. By trading down, they got extra draft capital to where they were able to trade up for Joshua Farmer, to where they were able to get Braden Swinson. We said, leaving free agency, that the Patriots have done a lot of great things this offseason, all the way from upgrading their head coach in Mike Vrabel, from upgrading the positional coaches with Terrell Williams and Josh McDaniels, to, of course, also the biggest need for them, the most underrated thing, and starting to build this culture, figuring out the identity from special teams to offense to defense. But they also solidified that defense, of course, heading into free agency with, like I said earlier, big additions like Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, and Harold Landry, to now going into the draft and leaving the draft saying that that was also a hit. The New England Patriots are a team to watch entering 2025. And the fact that they have made this much progress in just a couple of months of Mike Vrabel being here is such an underrated storyline throughout the entire National Football League. Everybody is sleeping on the New England Patriots. Everybody's saying that, oh, well, they haven't played a snap in the NFL yet. So how do you know that this team's going to be good and it's not just Gerard Mayo all over again? To which I have to say, just keep doubting. The Patriots have addressed essentially every single need that they had heading into this offseason after the conclusion of the 2024 season from pretty much every single aspect, every single avenue, from the coaching staff to starters and even depth and culture. But this is where I kick it off to you guys. What are your thoughts on what the Patriots have done in this past year's draft? What are your thoughts on what they've done so far this offseason? And what are your expectations for this team heading into 2025? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video and, of course, subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, breakdowns, and analysis. But as always, I'm Colby Cochran here with Patriots Global. Go Pats.